Thank you so much, Jesse. I'm wondering, would you mind finishing with a poem?
God, a poem. Jeez.
I have some candidates if you're having trouble.
Tell me what you would like to hear.
I love Until I Was Direction, I'd Rather Be a Cowboy, Sky Language, Out of the Midst of Fire.
Since we've talked about it, why don't I do I'd Rather Be a Cowboy?
I love that one. I love it.
And for all of the would-be young poets out there, I can say that there's a funny story about this poem is that it was published in a really good magazine years and years ago with a typo. I mean, not with a subject-verb agreement error that I didn't find until I was doing this book. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. I'd rather be a cowboy. In my composition class on Monday, I'm asked if the world will end on April 23rd, as predicted by a Christian cult. I wanted them to ask me about the difference between an independent and dependent clause. I asked another student to give me an example of a gerund. He told me he'd rather identify a different part of speech. I told him I'd rather be a cowboy. And I have to say, this is like literal. This is exactly what happened. I told him I'd rather be a cowboy. Because if I were a cowboy, I could ride my horse across the Great Plains, past the remnants of Crow encampments, past the chattering prairie dog towns, up and down 1,000 hills until I reached the shadow of the snowy bighorns. Yes, I'd much rather be a cowboy in Wyoming, where geologic time has stiffened the landscapes into a ragged beauty of buttes and crevices that seems permanent, though we know it is not. For a moment, however, on my horse riding beneath the unending sky, I could pretend I was immortal, that the mountains at the edge of this world are sentinels praising more mountains that linger beyond their jagged summits. But beyond those mountains is merely Idaho. 200 years ago, the Crow thought that beyond the mountains lived another entire world that we entered through smoking holes in the sky. Another world with its own mountains, its own bison, its own flurry of storms in April. I imagine Indian paintbrush blooming in a Crow heaven. I imagine a prairie storm that comes on so quickly the creosote barely has time to lie down before the rain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jesse.